Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Reach Podcast Show with LeVar Ellis. This is another episode, another interview of King and Queen Conversations. Today, I have another amazing king joining me for another amazing conversation. So we'll definitely get to that, and I'll introduce you to this young man that I just met, who's doing some amazing things. But as always, I'd like to start off the show by sending my blessings, condolences, and concerns to everybody again in the world, but also our close community here in the city of Houston, and different organizations and just the people that we know who are dealing with this COVID-19 situation. Just know that my continued prayers are with you guys, and I understand that it's a huge issue within our community. And so another thing that we're doing too, we have COVID-19 essential bags. So if you guys are in need of anything as far as essentials, I know you've probably seen the bags that I've been passing out. Shout out to Miss Anita Daniels for her foundation being the catalyst and the head of that whole initiative for the city of Houston. I want to say there's probably about 4 or 5 more distributions that she's going to be doing between now and the end of the year. And I've been blessed to be able to partner Dad Chronicles and the Reach Podcast Show with that initiative. So we definitely have something to bless you guys, and you can reach out to me via Facebook, whether it be on the Dad Chronicles page, whether it be on the Reach Podcast Show page. Just send an inbox or email me, and we'll make sure that you get something, and we'll take care of you in that shape, form, and fashion. But just continue to be faithful, continue to pray, and just know that things will definitely get better. And also shout out to my show sponsors. As always, I want to thank you guys for being a sponsor of the show. Number one, I have to always shout my girl Candace, who is just an ongoing sponsor of the Reach Podcast Show and the Joseph Consulting Firm. Appreciate everything that you guys do from week to week to week, and keeping me rolling. So I definitely appreciate you guys. And then also my man Eddie Machete, who was last month and a month before that, he was our sponsor over at Rolling Bones Custom Catering and Barbecue. He's Mr. Barbecuetarian. That's a word he made up live on the show. So I appreciate you, brother, for doing the things that you did and being the show sponsor. So thank you for that. And so there's plenty of things that we're going to talk about this morning. But just as a reminder, for the Reach Podcast Show, it was initially to be the voice of my organization, 501c3 Dad Chronicles. And it has just gone into a totally separate direction, becoming an entity of its own. And I can't say that how much I thank everybody who's been a part of the show, who's been a part of the process. Today is episode 41. We have another amazing gentleman who's going to join, and we're going to get back to some of those conversations that focus in on Dad Chronicles and why it's important. And we'll talk about the things that he's doing, which goes hand in hand with the ideas that I have as well. And so without further ado, I'd like to bring in this week's guest, and I'll give you a little bit of information on him. And shout out to my man, Jason Dorsey. What's up, brother?
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate you being here on the show. And let me just get this share thing going on real quick, and spread the word so that way everybody can see it. But I thank you for being here. And what I'm going to do is just read the write-up, like I said, that you had given me. So let me get to that. But this is Mr. Jason Dorsey, and his main business, and he's the owner of Dorsey Design, and he focuses on data and voice network security, inventory control, access control, AV, and many more things. Some of his clients are H&M with security, inventory control, and access control, Target with inventory control, Best Buy with data network, and Mellow Mushroom with AV systems, Galleria Mall with data networks, and FedEx phone systems, Randall's with phone systems, and La Quinta with data network, and Office Depot with data network as well. And another another venture, I say adventure, but you probably think it's an adventure too. But another venture that he's into is called This Is How We Dad. This Is How You Dad. And this is kind of what got us connected. Shout out to our girl Shannon Coleman for making this connection. And it spawned from the fact that he had a great father that he learned a lot from, but everybody did not have that experience. So so who do they turn to for advice? Who are the when they are stuck on an issue, who do they turn to? I believe that if you are blessed with something, it is truly is your true duty to see how you can turn that into a blessing for others. And he also has a group of fathers talking about fatherhood with a unique way, so that fathers can get answers to both common and unique questions. And there's going to be a show on YouTube with games, guests, and hard work. I mean, with hard and good conversations. And so that's really the whole outflow of what you have going on, man. So if there's again, welcome to the show. Appreciate you for getting on, man. And look, you made the early date, man. So I appreciate that.
Well, let's back up for 1 second. 1 second.
Go ahead.
So I told Chantel what it was that I was doing, and within seconds of me telling her what I was doing, she said, "Stop. You need to talk to this guy." You thank me and shout at me. I don't want to shout you. I want you to thank you for being that guy. Because
appreciate it, man.
If you hadn't impressed upon her, what you're about, this wouldn't be happening. So thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely, man. So I definitely appreciate it. And so with that being said, is there anything you want to add to, what we were speaking on, what, the write-up or things that you're doing? And we'll just get into it.
So I have a lot of stuff going on all the time.
Yeah.
But these are the two things that I'm focusing on now to really launch the other things. About the only other thing that I want people to know about right now is my Tech Kids initiative, where I talk to you about the donating of and refurbishing of computer equipment that I get from clients. That's not necessarily brand new, but it's not old and still has use. So I refurbish those. I teach kids, my son and my cousins, how to refurbish those, and I give them away.
Yeah.
So like I said, there are computers that could be given to kids that are going to school on tablets that need an actual PC, need to learn how to use computers. So if I get it and it didn't cost me anything, I refurbish it, I fix it, I upgrade it, I give it to you. I teach you how to use it.
That's interesting. You said that we spoke briefly on it because I just did a fundraiser via Facebook, and shout out to Facebook, still trying to get the funds from that, but they should be coming very soon. But I did an initiative I was trying to raise $2,000, but we raised 800 and I think about 20. So shout out again to everybody who donated to that initiative. And so the goal is to buy some computers. My mindset was to get these kids computers, basically doing the same thing that you're doing, but finding a good place to go to where we can get good deals and make a little bit better use out of the 800. Because we all know brand new computers, I'd probably only be able to get 2 or 3. So tell me, what I know you got the knowledge. What can I do with that to broaden this perspective? Well, you muted out. You still there?
There we go. All right.
Okay, good.
All right. So here's what you do. And this might take you a little bit longer, but it will give you a better bang for the buck. Don't use that 800 to buy computers. Find some later model Windows 7 machines that people are getting rid of. Use those machines. Use that $800 to upgrade them from Windows 7 to Windows 10.
And
so if you get 8 machines for free and you get some, and here's what I would say also. I have no problem doing anything and everything for anybody. If I have it and I don't need it, it's yours. Everybody that knows me knows that about me. But I also put some onus on the people who are getting the systems. I will give you the system. I will give you the mouse and the keyboard. If you want a fancy monitor, you have to get that because I'm going to give you the monitor that they gave me with the system. So that way you can turn that from getting 2 or 3 machines into getting 8 machines.
Yeah. That'll be huge, man. So we'll definitely talk more about that, brother, because that's the whole thing. Again, that's why I named the show The Reach, because I'm always trying to just broaden that reach and make sure we can reach as many people as possible. But that initiative, we'll be giving the update and report on that here really soon. And again, I just want to say thanks to everybody who donated to that, because we gotta do our part, man, to help our
Yes.
youth and make sure that they have what they need. So shout out to you for everything that's to come and the things that you're doing right now. But like I was saying, you know, I call this series that I'm running right now King and Queen Conversations, and of course today it'd be King Conversations, and we'll just get into some of the things that you know are most relevant. But the thing that pops out to me is the this is how you dad, you know, and I know you spoke on you had both your parents, and of course, like I told you, I didn't really have both of mine, definitely not in the same house, but I had access to both, but it was just a much more limited type of situation. And doing the things that I've done that I'm doing now has also helped me further my mindset on why things are the way they are and were the way they were, and you know, that type of deal. And so, you know, it's helped me grow, and this has been a personal journey as well too. So tell us a little bit about Jason and that situation with your parents, and how you feel about your dad, and why you thought that was so important.
Well, my parents were the, story, high school sweethearts. They were off and on together, not together, but they always had a space for each other. And they were literally till death do us part. Cancer took my mom in 2007. Cancer took my dad in 2014. And they didn't remarry. They didn't have to bury any of their children. All the things that you don't hear about, Black love, they were it. And the thing that I can give my parents credit for is they instilled values. They focused on the positive. And if there was something that I can say my parents didn't do, is they didn't prepare me for the world how it is.
Yeah.
They prepared me to shape it, to change things, but they didn't, they taught me, do good things happen. Do bad things happen. Yeah. So it caused me a lot of issues. Number one, I was so strict and rigid. It was hard for me to see what really is, as opposed to being able to deal with how things, I only saw how things were supposed to be. Yeah. I couldn't see how they really were. Right. And it caused a big disconnect for me in lots of areas. I mean, school. I mean, I walked away from a full ride at Morehouse. Walked away from it. Wow. Because they were just doing some things that I'm like, this is not how it should be. Not realizing that every single HBCU, every single, state funded college, every single Ivy League school has these exact same issues. I mean, it has caused a lot of problems. And it was through, sadly enough, it was through meeting the fathers of some of the women that I dated that I saw how different fathers handled things differently. It was through some of my best friends growing up, hanging out with their family, seeing how their fathers did things differently, how their fathers communicated with them. Because in my family, we were a loving family. Like my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, we got together. We had a good time. Bring my friends around. No, you not Jason's friend. You his brother.
You family, so
you family. And we did stuff, but I don't come from a people that communicate. They don't sit down. Like I only heard my mother tell me I love you when she was about to die. I never heard my dad say I love you. But there's you can't convince me otherwise. I mean, I tell my children, all of them, all the time, hey, love you. I'll put it in a joke. I'll say it while I'm fixing that bowl of cereal. I say, I give you this cereal because I love you. Eat this love. Eat this love. But it's through seeing other examples that I'm like, okay, this now I'm starting to get the picture. And by no means was my dad a bad father in any way, shape, or form, but he just didn't have all the tools. And I'm like, where's the toolbox? Yeah. How do you where's your screwdriver, dad? Where's your hammer, dad? Where's your tape measure, dad? You need all of those. And I'm just thankful that I've been blessed with the opportunity to see those problems, because I'm like, hey, if I had all these great examples, how are these people out here with no example doing it? How are these people out here with horrible examples? Like, they have a father present, but he's garbage.
Yeah.
How are they struggling? How are they getting through this? And so I'm like, you know what? I'm seeing a problem. There may be other people out here doing this type of thing, but I don't know if they have available the resources that I have. I don't know if they have the friends that I have, because I have a diverse set of friends with different backgrounds and different levels of father involvement, and we can all speak to lots of situations. And take it even a step further, the people that we know even extend that father vocabulary even further. So it's going to be a good time. I'm really excited. We're putting together some good content. We're going to have some very unique conversations. And I'm acting good right now,
Yeah.
but I'm ignorant. I'm acting good because this is your show. I don't want your sponsors to say, man, what you doing, man? I'm gonna be on my best behavior today. But
hey,
when
look, here's the thing about
into
how
my
I roll.
stuff,
They behind me 100%, man, and they
okay,
know what it's about.
okay.
So
Look, they're
you
gonna
ain't got
say,
to worry about
L, we had you on your 100, but this dude here with his extra, you need to go
Yeah.
somewhere with that. So
Yeah.
so we're gonna have some nice conversations centered around fatherhood, and it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, most definitely. And look, I'm already into it. I'm falling behind on my graphics here, so I apologize. But again, everybody just tuning in. This is Mr. Jason Dorsey, and he's the owner of Dorsey Designs. We'll talk about the Dorsey Designs in a little bit. And of course, right now we're talking about his idea of This Is How You Dad. And like you said, I know there's going to be something on YouTube. You have some people with you,
Yes.
but
Yes.
that's something else, man, that I wanted to speak on. Is I talked to you about chess, and you kind of, had some things to say about that. And before we go into that, though, I know you said there were certain things that you missed with your father, and you recognize that. At what point of your life did you recognize this? Is this something that's just coming to mind now, or is this something you've been thinking about? How do you feel in that regard?
This has been baking for quite a while. Like, I am the president of the National Procrastination Club. I am the founder. I am the president. I am the secretary. I'm the accountant. I am, and I am the first member. It's so I've had this idea for 15 years.
Wow. Okay.
I've had an idea for a book for 12 years. I've been designing some tools and gadgets for 8+ years. So I'm one of those people. This is how I was when I grew up. I had a grandfather that was big in the community in Acres Homes. Like, him and his brothers established the name Dorsey in our community that we grew up in. Okay. My grandfather would come to me and have an idea. My dad would come to me and have an idea. Weeks to months later, I would see what they were talking to me about on TV. Somebody else had the idea. They just had the resources.
Right.
And so I come from and this is not to say anything bad about my family, but I come from a long line of very brilliant men, but they ended up being shoulda, woulda, coulda. And I'm trying to break that.
Exactly.
It is. I am definitely that person, because I've had ideas. Months later, I see it on TV.
Yeah.
And so I'm
Me and
just
my
like,
mom joke about that, man. Everybody is one idea away from being a millionaire,
yeah,
and in this regard, we sleep on it because it's sort of the same. I was just telling you about my grandmother, man, and shout out to her. She'll be 90 years old tomorrow, the matriarch of my family, man. So she'll be 90 years old tomorrow.
Right.
We have a huge deal set up for her. Maybe I shouldn't say huge because of COVID-19, it's not many people can come around, but just the fact of her being 90 and the way we're going to do it is huge. it'll be limited amount of people around her. But she had 7 boys and 2 daughters. So you're
Wait.
talking,
She had 9 kids.
yes, sir.
Is she from the
9.
country?
Yeah.
Okay,
Palestine, Texas.
there's nothing to do
Yeah,
in the
Palestine,
country.
Texas. And sort of the same thing. I look and I'm like, because my dad was such a I guess afterthought coming up to where I looked to my uncles and it was just like, man, these boys, they just moving. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you said, they're definitely brilliant and could be doing this and doing that, but they just moving and not focused, let's say, and not being intentional. I call what we're doing being intentional,
Correct.
Not that, is going to be anything greater or less than the next man, but it's intentional, so that's the part that's very, very, very important.
Well,
so
it's let's do it like this. It's proactive instead of reactive.
Exactly. And so, there wasn't much to draw from. And so that's what I talk about. And then they even, man, I look up to you and I'm just like, man, I'm trying to look up to you, and so I come from this line of, not having many ideas. I mean, many examples of what to be like, quite a few of what not to be like, and, that whole deal. And again, like you were saying, it's not to take away from anybody, but it's just the intentional part. What you're doing, is it intentional? What are your results going to be? And so that's the thing that I think is important.
You said something that is important. You need those examples of what not to do.
Exactly.
You need those examples, because if somebody tells you, hey, don't do this, and you're like, but that sounds fun. Look at Uncle June. Look at Uncle June. Uncle June did that. Don't do that. So
I have this deal too that I'm working on, because a lot of people, they like to raise their kids with that. You got to let them bump their head. I don't really believe in that. You don't have to bump your head, but there's a fine line on that as well. You have to let people be themselves, and you got to let people learn. But it's this buy-in thing that I'm big on, is that, like you say, look at Uncle June. I mean, if you can see he's doing something that's not working, you don't have to do that. So that's another. What are your thoughts on that? That's something else that I'm big on.
So I think you and I are in agreement and not in agreement at the same time. And remember, we talked previously, and I said sometimes I don't even agree with myself.
Yeah.
This is one of those things. I've said that. I'm one of those people that believes that you are not going to have somebody convince you of anything else until you're ready to hear it. Okay. That's not children. That's people.
Yeah.
Adults. That's men, women. That's dogs.
Right.
They're not going to hear it unless they're ready to hear it.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, I used to say, I'm going to let my sons bump their heads until they're ready to do it. But what I've learned is a better phrase, one that makes more sense to everybody, is you can't teach somebody in your voice better than they can learn it from their own voice. So if they hear you just talking at them, that's just. But if you say it and you demonstrate it, and then they hear themselves saying it to themselves.
Yeah.
So that's been my trick.
And that is head on, because like you say, we agree and disagree, but I'm working on a curriculum too, because I call it the buy-in. And that's the whole thing for me.
Yes.
And the buy-in is not that you made them do anything. The buy-in is that they agreed to it. They understand it. They're hearing it. And so that's one of the curriculums I'm working on to try to, save our young brothers, and even the young girls, because this is not just, I started off, it was all about, our young Black men, and, but the support always comes from the ladies, you know what I'm saying? So I opened up my organization to include the young ladies, because there's so many things that our young women are going through as well. So, I incorporated them as well. So, I mean, that is definitely something that I agree with. They have to buy in. That's what I call it, the buy-in.
And so I was in Detroit visiting someone's grandmother, an ex-girlfriend's grandmother, and one of her uncles was fussing at one of her cousins. And the dude was, 16, 17, 18, and You know the stereotypes about Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to tell you that they are true. Every last one of them. Every last one of them.
Every last one of them. Huh?
Every last one of them. Hey, make up one right now about
Yeah.
Detroit. It's
Yeah.
true. It's true. So, and the father was really, really angry because the son was getting in trouble. And this is what what made me start to really, really look at things, fatherhood, differently, because I met the girl that I was dating at the time living in Seattle. We were both working at Microsoft, and the best thing that happened to me at Microsoft was taking classes on people.
Hey, look, Jay, I'm sorry, I got to interrupt you. It's funny to me, but we must have somebody from Detroit looking at us because
I know. That's why I said it. I
we
know
got an angry face.
Oh, I know. Is does the name start with a K?
I don't know. It's just the symbol came up. They just popped up angry face.
She's gonna text me in a little bit. I know.
Hey, look, just know it was Jason, not me. I love everybody.
She knows exactly who it is. I saw her pop up, and I said it just because she's here. So
already.
So when I was at Microsoft, I took a course on how to train. I took a course called Personal Power and Presentation. That was basically, hey, this is who you are. This is how the world sees you. If you are trying to get this certain message across, this is how you have to work the room. Mm-hmm. And that was the second best course that I ever took. The first best course that I ever took was 2 8-hour days straight in this classroom. And it was called Crucial Conversations. And it was about how to have tough conversations when success of the conversation is absolutely mandatory. You can't walk away from the conversation without it being successful, but y'all don't agree. Y'all don't even get along. You might not even like the person. You might want to do physical bodily harm to the person, but you've got to get through to the conversation. So taking all 3 of those courses allowed me to see the conversation that this father was having about his son to somebody else in front of his son's face. And I could just see the son getting smaller and smaller and smaller because the father was saying, man, he just needs to do what I tell him to do. Blah, 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 blah. He do this. This is stupid. This is dumb. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting here saying that this father just does not see. You don't want your son to do what you say you want him to do. What you want is you want your son to make better decisions. You want your son to do the right thing in your absence. Because if you have to be there all the time, you're not doing him any good. A father's job is one of planned obsolescence. Mm-hmm. My job is to get you ready to exist without me.
Yeah.
Right. And not only to get you to be ready to exist without me, but to get you to a point where you can get somebody else ready to exist without you. And they can get their kids ready to exist. You've got to give somebody the tools to be able to hand those tools off in good condition to the next generation. And it was then that I started that idea about this, because I looked at him and I'm like, this is not how you dad.
Yeah.
And it was seeing a bad example that gave me the idea of, hey, maybe this father, exactly. So it was in that moment in Detroit with all the true stereotypes.
Let's not forget that.
Oh no, I'm gonna bring it back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring it back. Sorry to the sponsors.
No, that's cool, man. That is really cool. And so another thing I was gonna say is that the fact that you were aware enough or had the discernment to grasp that, you know, that's another thing that we don't really pay attention to. We're not intentional about, and we miss a lot of stuff, you know, and I think that stagnates our progress. And people always talk about generational wealth. Another thing we must pass on, which is what you just said, is not only generational wealth, but generational knowledge and generational wisdom, you know, and that's what keeps our family going, helping them understand when we establish something. I got to tell my son, he's 15. I tell him all the time, hey, you might not want to run Dad Chronicles. You might not want to do the Reach podcast show, but it's your responsibility because you know where this came from. You know where I started this from. It is your responsibility to make sure it lives on. And if that requires you finding somebody and getting them to keep it going, you know, that's on you. And that's something I'm going to place on your shoulders because you have to recognize your responsibility, you know, and that's a responsibility that I think that we have to pass on to our younger generations to help
Yeah,
them understand that this is important, and this is something, that they need to recognize,
yeah.
so is that your belief as well?
I definitely believe that you need to have the tools to navigate the world as it is. And right now, the world is one of people helping people.
Yeah.
That is the system. And people tend to only help people that are going to grease their back too, rub and scratch their back too. And if you don't have a back scratcher, folks don't want to deal with you.
Yeah.
So there is definitely a need to have a continuation, because if
Right.
you're starting over from scratch every single generation, folks are not going to say, "Hey, let me deal with this person."
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
it saddens me that, okay, I tutor people. Okay, one of the things that's you can't see it off camera, but I have a full length whiteboard on my wall right here. I have dry erase markers. I have all the stuff that teachers have in their rooms, because I still tutor people, because I believe that knowledge and education is the key to unlocking any and every door. But
Mm-hmm.
right now in our society, you make a stupid video, you make a dumb video, you having sponsors throw money at you, you do something stupid,
Yeah.
you get all the fame. Now it's crazy
Yeah.
because
It's a whole what do you call it? It's a whole system
yeah,
behind that stuff
yeah.
too, and that's where they're getting us. But that's a whole nother conversation.
I'll make a video like just recently. I taught somebody how to work in a physics problem. She was having issues understanding heat transfer, but the problem was something like, "Hey, you have so much aluminum at this temperature. How much water would you need to bring it down to this temperature?" She was having problems understanding energy transfer.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't give her the answer. I taught her the principles. I walked her through the problem. She understood the problem. I made up two more problems that were like that, and she solved them. I made up a third problem and had her teach me how to solve them.
Mm-hmm.
That video will get me nowhere.
Yeah.
If I make a stupid video of me doing a stupid dance with my son, that's gonna go viral.
You're gonna go viral.
And
Yeah.
and that's the problem. I think we have a hugely uh misplaced set of values. It's
Mm-hmm.
right now. It's quick. People don't value education and knowledge. But I haven't been in college for years, but I'm still tutoring college students on
Yeah.
a regular basis in science and math. But what's gonna make me go viral is something stupid,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
That is definitely something that's crazy. What are, still being on This Is How You Dad, what
mhm.
is some tidbits you can give us, or what are your, just a few of your top beliefs, just something you can share with us to engage into more about This Is How You Dad? What are some of your beliefs or things that you would want people to know that would bring them to you?
First and foremost, I don't know everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that. Um, this endeavor is as much for me to learn as it is for the viewers to learn. Um, uh, uh, there are a lot of people that tell me all the time, "Jason, you're smart. Jason, you're this. Jason, you're intelligent." And I'm like, if you only knew how much stuff I struggle with, how many things I just have no clue about. And even though I had a good father, even though I've had children live with me twice before I had my own children, I still have had no clue.
Yeah.
Um, so what are my beliefs? I believe that um, in lieu of any developmental defects or birth defects, mental
Mm-hmm.
issues, I believe that children are born with the innate ability to understand and do everything.
Yeah.
And I don't mean anything. I said everything on purpose. That's one of the things that my parents instilled in me. They said, Jason, there is nothing that you can do that you can't be excellent at. Now, the environments that some of these children are in aren't conducive to that. And so their expectations are lowered. Their expectations for themselves are lowered. And so they're sitting here coasting at here when they were born up here. And I am very adamant about catching children while they're young and showing them their true potential. I am very adamant about catching adults that have young children and saying, hey, man, look, this ain't the way. I'm not sitting here trying to talk to you, but let's look at the statistics. Yeah. This is where you're headed. This is what the numbers say. You look, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I will sit here and say that math is one of the truest religions that there is. You can be Christian, you can be Buddhist, you can be, I don't care. You can't. I'm gonna shut up because what I'm about to say is I'm about to start.
What you got to say, brother?
I'm about to start talking about recidivism and all this other type of stuff, and it angers me. I made a whole. You know what? Let's do this. In the future, I made a video about some numbers about violence in the Black community and stuff about numbers of representation in jail versus society and stuff like that. I'm gonna give you the link to that, have you watch it, and then later on we can do a video. We can come and talk about that because my feelings on that are an hour and a half easy by themselves.
Yeah. No problem. We can definitely, I definitely got to have you back because what people may be understanding or maybe not understanding is that the connection we've made is we're one and the same with the way we're trying to go with stuff. And so I have no problem with that.
Here's another belief. Here's another belief. I believe that we should get back to the village.
Mm-hmm. Let me stop you right there. I have an event before COVID hit. I have an event that I call "It Takes a Village."
Exactly.
And guess what we're doing? We're moving from one underserved community to the next underserved community throughout the city, and we're providing just a good old-fashioned block party. But it's sort of like a STEM situation to where we're bringing in the science, we're bringing in technology, we're bringing in everything, and they're receiving these STEM experiences and STEAM experiences. Adding that A in there, they're experience. The kids are experiencing these situations and don't even realize it, so to speak. Right. But then when it's all over, we make sure that they understand what this was all about. But we have music. We have different organizations, different businesses, different nonprofits. We do the music, we do dance offs, karaoke. I bring my chess club out there teaching them chess. We have painting, we have art, we have books, we have literacy, we have the vendors there. And that's something that I can't wait to get back to. So when you said it takes the village, or it takes the village, that just reminded me of that whole situation. Yeah. And I was only able to put on 2 before COVID hit, man. But again, go ahead. That is exactly right, though. It takes the village, man.
It's when I was growing up, I lived in Acres Homes, and my family, the fofo. Not if somebody says 4-4, get out of here. You're not. If you don't know how to pronounce Kirkendall,
right?
Get out of here. Just stop it. Stop it.
Absolutely.
If you don't know at least 3 locations where you can get you a pickle with a candy cane in it, get out of here.
Get out of here. Yeah.
So, the reason why it's important for the village for me is that it fosters respect. When you know that anybody can get at you for acting up.
Different situation.
When your neighbors know your parents, so when I moved back to Texas, I lost my job in Seattle. My mom had passed. My dad was getting sick. His health was failing. I said it's time to go back home. When I came back home, again, I'm looking for work and working for myself, but also looking for work. I volunteered at my old high school, and I know you see the instruments behind me. I don't really play that much anymore, but I used to play the drums and saxophone for my church in Seattle. And when I moved back home, I volunteered. The band director at Booker T. Washington, my high school, was a brass player, and he brought me on as the woodwind instructor. So I was teaching all the flutes and saxophones and clarinets how to be better musicians.
Man, my boy's the principal over there now. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Look, have you been to the new campus?
Yes. Yeah. I've seen it.
Oh, I wish that was my campus. Oh,
yeah. Total difference, huh?
Yes. So one of my rules was, if your kid is in my section, I will have your parents' number. I'm going to have your kid's cell phone number. I'm going to have your cell phone number. And you and I must agree that if your kid acts up, I'm snatching your kid. Because I don't have time to deal with I'm snatching your kid. I'm letting you know I snatched your kid. And it's going to be a text message with me and your kid, you and your kid on it. I don't deal with the disrespect. I'm here to elevate you. I'm not here to deal with you disrespecting other teachers, other students. Me, it's not going to happen. And you know what? Every single kid that I had a problem with, when I met their parents, I understood why.
Yeah.
I understood why. And I'm like, every single thing was reinforcing the village, because the parents that didn't want to come into my village, their kids was acting a fool.
Yeah.
The parents that acted a fool had kids. I had one kid, this girl, get in trouble. The first day that I met her mother in person, her mother called this girl fat, ugly, and stupid in front of me, made her daughter cry, called her all those things in front of me. And guess what the mother was? Fat, ugly, and uneducated.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
See, that's what we're passing on to our kids, man. Just our own failures, our own insecurities, and the way we feel about ourselves, and that's the biggest problem that we have, is just that early childhood development, and just not understanding that our kids are not us. We need to instill those values to help them not be us, be better than us. And even if we're great parents, that's another thing. With my organization, I tell people all the time, I do this because it's for everybody. Barack Obama and Jay-Z look in the mirror every day, and I guarantee you they can find a way that they can be better. So, what I'm doing and what we're doing is definitely important, man. So I feel you on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so there are other people involved in this project. Like I said, I have I have four of the guys. They're all brothers that went to Morehouse with me. They are right now based in Houston. One of them is a former Canadian, so I have to give him crap as much as I can. He's a Canadian, and one of his favorite groups of all time is NWA. I'm like, come on, man. Come on, man. Whatever. He listens to more hard music than I do. Put on some jazz, he having a problem. I'm like, come on, man. So
it's great cousin.
Oh yeah,
leave him alone.
So it's gonna be good stuff. But the other thing that I believe is that we as fathers need to become a part of the system, and not by going to jail, but by becoming a regular fixture in every part of the legal system, from policing to lawyers to politicians to lobbyists to everything that's a part of the system. We need to make it a priority to become a part of it. Even if it is through our business dealings, we develop relationships with public servants, and then we guide them to things that are needs for our communities. I think that you and I talked briefly about voting yesterday, and I briefly said what I
I
felt.
was just gonna say you did a perfect segue. I was about to go into the whole voting thing. We definitely got to speak on that.
I'm working on my show on your show. I'm working on my
It's
segue.
all good, brother. It's all good.
So yeah, I think voting is needed, but I think it's like, finishing one of your vegetables on your plate. There's still much more that you've got to do. I think it is more impertinent for our community to have their own candidates that we chose, that we put into power, that can't be bought, can't be sold. I think that if we do that and we let our children see that the system is for us and by us and of us, we won't have a problem getting them registered to vote because they will see the system change and starting to work for them. Right now, I can't intellectually, I can blame somebody that doesn't want to vote. Emotionally, I can understand.
Yeah.
Because if all you see is, drugs, cars, I can get out the hood doing music. I can get out the hood playing sports. If that's all you see, you don't see politics. You don't see all the other things that go into it working in your favor. Why should I participate in that? So explain to me how somebody or how a kid living in the projects would want to grow up to be a police officer.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing. That becomes that buy-in again. For me, I would think it'd be more of an encouragement if they were in the mindset of wanting to see something different. But all they see is what the police officer do. All they see is the police officer not understanding. All they see is a police officer that's not even in their community coming to police their community. So community policing is an important issue. And it just gets so deep into so many different avenues, which all goes back to voting, and why that part is important. But it's just the mindset, man. It's that surface thinking. That's why, I chose chess with my organization to try to, I call it critical thinking. And we teach that and why that's important and the steps to staying ahead of the game and relating it to life and just all of this. But
we got to add a domino aspect to that, man. We got to get domino.
Look, we got to leave that out because that's just my that's my pastime. That's my fun time. I'm gonna slam the bones and talk noise. I might be say something crazy to the kids,
Okay.
But no, that's that.
I'm on the Domino app. You can send JD does it. JD does
right.
Bring it. Don't get your feelings hurt. Don't get your feelings hurt. No, but so we touched on the subject, and I'm gonna show you, give you a really, really bad example of my thinking and how my parents, as great as they are, me only having that one vision growing up messed me up into adulthood. So remember I said that my parents taught me do good things happen, do bad things. So growing up, if I saw somebody being accosted by a police officer, my immediate thought was they did something wrong. Automatically, you must have done something wrong, or else that guy's not going to be bothering you. What did you do wrong? What did you do? And when I tell you, so I left Houston in '96, moved to Atlanta. I had plenty of interactions with police officers in Houston, police officers in Atlanta, police officers in Seattle. I did not have my first bad interaction with the police officer until I moved back to Texas as a grown man. And it was 2 interactions within 1 month, and both of the times I was in a poor neighborhood. Okay? I had one of my helpers tell me, "Hey man, you need to watch out, man. The police over here be tripping." And I said, I'm not gonna say his name. I said, "Hold on, man." Again, in my ignorance, I said to him, "Look at how you carry yourself. Look at how you dress. look at this. Look, and I'm starting to point out things about him and his character and blaming him. And he said to me, "Nah, Jason, nah, man, that's not the truth, man. No, my ignorance, I didn't listen to him." So one night I dropped him off at his apartment, and he stayed in the same projects as his aunt. His aunt is how I met him. So I stopped by. I called and said, "Hey, I'm dropping him off. Come outside. Let's catch up." So we stood outside. We talked for a little bit, and she went back into the house. I'm tired. I had just put in a 14-hour day because 80% of my business at that time was IT. 20% of it was general contracting, and I'm talking $100,000 budgets on remodeling houses over a 3-month period. So I'm do that stuff too. Not so much anymore. So I say I'm tired. One thing I do not do is I do not drive where I am going to go to sleep. I will pull over and go to sleep. I was in a well-lit area. I was parked. I took the keys out of my car, put them in my console, and went to sleep. I was awoken by a rap on my windshield, and I woke up and saw the light, immediately knew it was police officers. So I rolled the window down, and I asked the officer what was going on. Meanwhile, he's got his light in my face, telling me that I've been drinking. Telling me, not asking me, telling me that I've been drinking. I had to ask him 3 more times, "Officer, can you take the light out of my face? I have been drinking. I will submit to a breathalyzer test." He's like, "Well, you're in a no parking zone." I said, "Officer, I'm not parked. I'm in the vehicle. I'm technically standing. This is not a no standing zone like at the airport." So I'm having to correct him and de-escalate. He still got the flashlight in my face. I say to him, "Officer, I can turn my dome lights on so you can see everything that's going on in my truck. I don't drive trucks that don't have full back seats and 4 doors. I need a crew with me, tools with me." So he could see there was nothing going on in the back seat. He could see the passenger seat and everything. It wasn't until I turned the dome lights on that he finally took the flashlight out of my face. I forgot to tell you that I had given him my ID at this point in time. I said, "Officer, you can run my ID. There's nothing on it. Traffic tickets in the past that are all paid off." So he finally, begrudgingly took the flashlight out of my face. And for the first time, I could see his partner standing in the blind spot that he had created and on his hip. And so I got somebody posturing to pull their gun on me because I made the responsible decision to pull over and sleep. And that woke me up. I'm like, maybe he wasn't lying. Maybe they over here, they treat people like criminals because they assume you're a criminal.
Right.
And then like less than a month later, again, after another long day on a project, I take one of my guys out to eat. And he's like, "Hey, let's stop at this tattoo shop. One of my friends is over here getting a tattoo." We stop at Dago's. Okay. We get to Dago's and something happens and the crowd just breaks out. We don't even go inside. We see a bunch of people. We see 2 guys run out. We said, "That don't look good." We see a bunch of people run out, and one of the tattoo artists, because he had gloves on his hand, comes out holding a gun. And we're like, "Yeah, we don't want none of that."
Yeah.
None of that. So we sit in the car. He calls his friend. She tells him about what's happening. We say, "Yeah, we're not going in there. Y'all come outside." So they come outside. We're talking, and we're like, "You know what? Y'all gonna be over here getting y'all tattoos done too long, especially since whatever just happened. We're gonna go eat." He said, "I'll see you another time." So, this was some, Detroit type stuff.
Yeah.
So
you're leaning on somebody.
hard.
Yeah.
So I know I'm gonna hear it. I know I'm gonna hear it.
Yeah.
So we're walking back to my truck. We're walking back to the truck. All of a sudden, I hear, "Freeze! Get up against the truck." And I know what it is. It's the police responding to whatever had happened. They goes to call the police. I'm not tripping. But what happens after that has me concerned. Now, whenever I'm running a crew, I do not dress like my crew. unless it's a uniform. I dress like the boss. So when somebody walks on my site, they know who to come talk to.
Right.
I'm wearing a button-down shirt. I'm wearing some clean Duluth Trading Company fire hose pants.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm fancy with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And shirt tucked in. They untuck my shirt, going through all my pockets. Police officer grabs my crotch like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, hey man, sir, that's not necessary. He does. He keeps doing like, hey man, I'll take these pants off if you want me to.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, chill out, man, chill out. And so they take my helper's ID because he's not dressed like me. He looks like he's got some cases. He looks like he does some crime. He fits the description.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad. And we're telling him what happened, and he's treating us like we're guilty. And he sets his partner on us. Now he's a white officer. Let me go back up. The officer that had the light in my face, he was an Hispanic officer. The officer behind him, his partner that had his gun on him, was white. I don't think it really matters. I just think what matters was this. Anyway, so it's a white officer that's grabbing my penis repeatedly, like he's trying to win something.
Yeah.
The lady is standing there. She's calm. She's cool. He has her watch us. I asked her, man, can I let the tailgate down on my truck so I can sit down? I've been on my feet all day. I'm trying because the guy, my helper, he has some pending court cases. No warrants, but he's got pending drug cases. Okay. So I sit down and I start kicking my feet. I'm trying to de-escalate the situation. I'm trying to calm him down. I'm trying to make Super Cop over here calm down when he comes back. I strike up a conversation with the female officer the woman officer that is guarding us. She doesn't have her hand on a gun. She's standing back purposefully about 15 feet so that if one of us does rush her, she's doing everything by the book. We strike up a conversation. The guy that's with me is still antsy. He's still agitated. So I'm trying to calm him down by calming everybody else down. Up comes another patrol car. And there's another gentleman officer sitting in the passenger seat talking to her. And basically he's, insinuating that we've done something wrong. And hey, do you need help?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
They always need help.
Right. No. And I get it. I do not wish any harm on any police officer. I have lots of friends and family that are police officers. I respect the law. I love the law. I appreciate them for what they do. Just get the bad ones out so the good ones can do the job. Just get them out. So this officer starts to talk to her, and then he turns the conversation towards us. I tap him because I feel like he's about to say something. I tap him, and I don't say anything. Then he turns the conversation back to her. Now, meanwhile, all the time before they pulled up, I had been joking with her. And so it just so happened that he said something to her that was sort of in line with what she and I were talking about. And so I responded to him as if I was responding to her. Basically, I can't remember what I said, but it was the gist of it was, no, officer, we're all okay here. She got the joke. She understood what I was talking about was a continuation of what she and I were talking about. She crumbles laughing. She is just in tears, just laughing. My boy is still upset. The police officer that was in the car gives me the stinkiest face that I've ever gotten from anybody. Now, I've done some things to some people to deserve some stank faces. I'm no angel. No angel. Okay, that lady from Detroit can probably attest to that stank face was probably a continuation of some things she had to deal with me. But anyway, so that officer saw her cracking up laughing, but just decided to slow drive off and give me the face that was like, if we weren't here, if there weren't witnesses, if there weren't eyes, I would beat the crap off. I would beat the brakes off of you. Yeah. I never felt so unsafe in my life. 2 instances that happened 10 minutes apart from each other in a bad neighborhood. I never had a bad interaction with a police officer ever in my life. And so I'm sitting here like, this is a gap that my upbringing created.
Mm-hmm.
This is me not understanding that you could be doing nothing wrong and bad stuff will happen to you. You could be doing nothing wrong and somebody takes something out of context and you're in jail, you're in prison, you're doing something that had nothing to do with you. And it was a rude awakening because all of a sudden I was forced to give credence to all these people that I viewed as thugs, all these people that I viewed as criminals, all these people that I viewed as less than me, telling me I wasn't doing anything wrong. I'm like,
yeah.
Why were you in handcuffs? I don't know.
Yeah.
And so it's like, as smart as my parents made me, I'm stupid.
Yeah.
And that was a huge. And that wasn't 10 years ago. That might have been 5 years ago.
Wow.
It was about 4 or 5 years ago. And here I am.
I take two things from that, man. Coming up in the 4-4, you were blessed to never have to go through that.
We talked about this. Say it right. Say it right.
4-4. That's why I said it like that.
No.
But no, man, growing up in the 4-4, man, it's just a blessing within itself that you never had to experience that. So that's good, because my change, have a similar story, but it came when I was much younger, and me and my cousin just walking down the street, Fondren in Maine, because I'm a Southwest type of guy, grew up here on the Southwest, and there was always something going on over that area, and we were just walking to the little corner store. And, it was almost dark, it wasn't quite dark. Unbeknownst to us, there just was a robbery around the corner. And we're just walking off our basketball that we had been doing 3, 4, 5 hours, so we tired. We just going to get something to drink. And I mean, right as we're getting to the store and they had a little dirt parking lot, we go up in there. They assumed we were part of that situation and we must have had left. That's why we think we slick and we're trying to get away from the situation. Hey, they jumped out, beating us with nightclubs and this, that, and the other. It was no questions. This is when it was bad. No questions asked. And then when they got through, it was then you want to question us. And we're like, what the hell is going on? And then they realized that we had no parts of that, wasn't nowhere involved with that, and then they got calls over the radio. They had the people that they were looking for. And so they just left us there. Wait.
So you were walking through Houston's Little Detroit, and you got accosted. I'm gonna keep jabbing that sword. I'm gonna keep jabbing that. What did they say after they whooped you like you was a child?
Notice I said they didn't say anything. You would think it's, oh man, my bad, nothing. They get the call. We can hear everything. They thinking that we were part of it. They had it fixed in their mind that we were part of this situation. And so after they get the call, they had gotten our IDs at this point. They, roughed us up and gotten our ID and they were running in. And of course we were clean. So then they get the call and then they just throw our stuff back at us and they burn off, man. That's how that went. Like, so literally.
Here's a question. Because I've been under arrest technically, but at a young age, and I'll tell that story. But so I was in middle school, and Kid and Play was the ish back then.
Yeah,
I had the high top. My high top was at least that tall.
Well, hold on, Jay, you had hair, bro? Go ahead, hair. All right.
You know what? Cancel that next episode. You know what you said? Okay. All right. Man. Gloves off. Yeah. No more gloves. So yes, I had hair. It's just here now. It's and on my knuckles. So I'm at band camp, right? I got my saxophone neck strap on. I got my shorts on. I got my comb in my pocket because I had the high hair. we were on a break, and there were water fountains outside, and I didn't want no hot water fountain. I wanted the cool breeze from inside. I want the cool breeze. So I go inside the school where I'm not supposed to be, but that's where the clean bathrooms are, and that's where the cold water is. So a police officer sees me, and I had been drinking for a while. I was done. He comes out of a room, and he assumes that because I'm done right as he's coming out, that I'm moving because of him. I'm like, no, I'm just done drinking. And he stops me, and he says, What are you doing in here? I'm just getting some water. And he's like, what's that in your pocket? And to me, I'm like, it's a comb. So I'm finna go grab him. He's like, hold up. He backs up. He's like, slowly.
Yeah.
And I pull it out, and I'm like, it's a comb. And I comb my hair. All just smart mouth. If you could comb your hair with the smartest mouth, my wrist had that smart mouth. I'm just combing it. I'm getting all my kid and play energy out. And the thing was that it was important to him for that interaction not to end on a bad note. He stopped me because I was walking off. He said, do you understand why I stopped you? And I said, no, and kept walking. He got in front of me and said, look, there's supposed to be no kids here. You're here. As soon as I come from where I'm coming from, you start to jet off, and I see a bulge in your pocket. That's why I stopped you. I know now that you didn't do anything wrong, but I need for you to understand this. It was important to him for me not to walk away feeling like he was out to get me. So my question to you is, I don't feel like you have any animosity towards police. How, after that experience, did you heal yourself to be able to see a police officer running down the street or see a police officer after you pull you over and not freak out?
Yeah. So before I go into that, it's important for our viewers and maybe even for yourself to understand that simple interaction today, you'd have been dead. Going into your pocket, pulling it out, combing your hair, because it would have been you pulling out a gun. You know, it's that split-second decision that they make these days that you know, they can just accuse you that they thought it was a gun. You know, that's how these cops get off these days.
He told me to pull it out.
But guess what? These days, he would have to pull it out himself. You know what I'm saying? I'm just honestly speaking, he would have to pull it out himself because this is where this is just me inputting that knowledge these days. And just the time and the climate that we're in, it's those small things that people have to recognize that it's not right. It's not right at all. But these are the split-second decisions that we have to make, you know, and understand going in my pocket, whether he told me or not, because as soon as I pull it out, because he said so, he still thinks it's a gun. So in his split-second decision, he decides to shoot because he thought I was pulling out a gun, you know. But man, it took a minute, you know. There was actually a situation similar to that came after that. But I don't even know, you know, I can't put my finger on how I got past that or how I got beyond that because it was just expected, you know, from where we were and where I grew up and, you know, going through that. It was just an expected situation. I was more grateful to make it through, you know, than I was worried about, you know, what I thought about them, you know. But my friends became HPD. Had a homeboy that worked in the feds, and I actually wanted to be an officer at one point in time. So it's just strange that I don't think it altered my mindset because I understand that there are those bad cops out there. There's you know, one apple don't spoil the bunch, you know. And it was just, and then too, this was somebody we knew in the force that was known for that. You know what I'm saying? And so you know, you just take it for what it is. You know, and you that's another thing when it comes to the voting and knowing your rights and learning what you can do to understand that you don't have to put up with stuff like that. So that was more of the situation then, you know, and actually seeing some of my friends, you know, make the difference and be the difference, you know, was I guess what got me over it, you know, and just knowing that it was not just a random person, it was also somebody who's known for this. But of course, being that young, I wasn't thinking about how to fight it at that time, and that's one of my regrets, I would say, because there's something that could have been done about that, just like we're doing now, but this is nothing new to society, as we all know. But that's why it's important for us to stand on our 10 toes, man, and know what's important and know what can be done. So I think it was just I looked at it as something that was normal. The person was known for it, and then actually wanted to be an officer at that time, or not at that time, but it was just something I had considered. And seeing my friends actually go in that direction, it helped me deal with that situation even more. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But man, listen. So want to get into the Dorsey designs, because I know you spoke on that a little bit.
Okay.
But what is your vision for your business? And I appreciate that this is how we dad segment of it, but I definitely want to give you an opportunity to speak on your business and what you do beyond what I read, So what made you create the Dorsey design? How did you shift into that?
What made me create Dorsey design was the fact that almost every single job that I've ever had, I've been promoted to leadership.
Mm.
I've been promoted to a lead. I've been promoted to a manager. Been promoted to shift lead. I've been promoted to, uh, the person that holds the bat phone for when emergencies happen. I've been promoted,
Right.
and so I'm like, why not be the boss?
Right. Why not?
Why not?
That's my boy say all the time. Why not? Like, why not?
Listen.
Yeah.
There are only so many questions that you can ask.
Mm-hmm.
Who, what, when, why, where, and how.
Yeah.
The most important question is why. The second most important question, why not?
Yep.
So I'm like, these people are promoting me, but when I get promoted to a position of power and they say, Jason, we need your input, they get my input and they like, Now, I know that this is the direction that we need to go because I came from the front lines. You saw my potential. You promoted me, but now you don't want to listen to what I have to say.
No, they want to stuff you back in the box, man.
He doesn't think like us. He doesn't come from money. That's not what they said, but it may as well have been.
Absolutely.
He's not one of us. He comes from a grunt class. And again, I've never worked for anybody that has openly said that about me or even indicated that. But I do have to recognize that there's different levels and different layers of thinking about how to do business.
Absolutely.
And I've always wanted to break those layers down and flatten them and streamline the process. So I'm like, why not be my own boss? I've tried everything else. I've worked in different industries. My first job was at Jack in the Box. The guy trained me on everything. I'd worked in every station, even including maintenance. The guy wanted me to be one of the store managers. And then when he said, hey, I want you to miss school for a week so you can take this store management. And I was in high school. I was a senior in high school. And so I said, no, I can't do that. Because I was on track to be a chemical engineer. I had an internship with Shell Chemical lined up. That was my first, real job where I was making real money. So I said, I like my ideas. I have the skills. I know how to do stuff. I'm a little bit fuzzy on the business stuff, but I like my ideas. I have I have the talent, but I don't want to put money in other people's pockets if I can put it in mine.
Absolutely.
So the recognition that other people recognize my potential made me have to see myself differently. And so Dorsey Design became a thing. It wasn't Dorsey Design at first. My company's first name was a stupid name called Canis Solutions. I love wolves to this day. And so I got notoriety in Atlanta for doing a particular flyer. that is still following me to this day. We'll talk about that flyer another day.
All right. All
Again,
right.
I'm caring for your sponsors. I don't want just your sponsors, man.
Yeah.
So so after that was when I went to Microsoft, and then when I came back home, I spun my company back up. So I want to take it in a different direction. Right now, I'm providing services. I'm looking to get into the business of manufacturing goods and developing products, because as a technician out in the field, there are lots of things that I have to do. And I'm saying, man, if I had this, it would be easier. And so I'm sitting here thinking, somebody's got to have made this because I have this idea. Somebody else had it, and it's not there.
Right.
And it's not there. And so I'm taking the steps to not be shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I have a toolbox designed. I'm just looking for somebody that can manufacture it at a reasonable price.
Right.
I have a design that data technicians, voice technicians, electricians, anybody that runs cabling can use and cut their time to run cable down by 90%.
Wow.
So you tell
That's
somebody,
huge.
you tell somebody, I'm gonna save you 90% of your labor time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm working on doing that, because that will give me the time and the resources to work on my other 18, 17 projects.
Yeah.
So it's that shift. I'm moving from the reactive, hey, Jason, I've got this problem that I can't fix, to the more proactive of, I see this need, I know how to fill it.
Yeah.
And my goal right now is to, and I'm gonna put this out here, within the next 5 to 8 years, I want to have one of my products in Home Depot.
That's major, man.
I want to. Yes.
Just consider it done, man. Consider it done on that behalf.
Come here. I can't hear you.
Absolutely.
I knew this was going to happen.
Hey, it's all good. I told you, put them up in your lap, man. Let them get in.
You going to say hello,
man?
This is Nathaniel. Say hello, Nathaniel.
What's up, Nathaniel?
Wave to the people.
Look, I love it. I wish my little man was here right now. They'd say what's up to each other. But no, that's major, man.
Yeah.
And it's these little moments like this, man, to let your son to be able to be part of the show. That's something else that I adore. Yeah. I just love the kids, man. Anyway, so that's good. Needless to say, like I said, you're definitely busy. You have those goals and your projects, and for the sake of time, what I want to do really quick too is, you've been having some of your viewers have been commenting. So I want to say I appreciate Miss Melinda Cassandra, Miss Victoria Christian, Nicole Brooks, my man Eddie. He was trying to be funny. Eddie,
I saw Eddie. I see him.
On them dominoes, Eddie.
I figure Eddie got a brass pinky. He ain't talking about nothing.
Yeah, Eddie ain't talking about nothing, man. But listen, that's my boy too. You have to go to my YouTube and check out his show.
Okay.
Because he was on my podcast. He was in studio. That's another thing for I didn't mention is shout out to Flow Studios, man. That's my family. That's where I had switched to doing my shows. And all things be to God, they fully survived, but there was a business fire and they were able to salvage all of the equipment. And so, of course, we had to be creative. And so I just been keeping it going here from my home studio. But we'll be back in the studio within the next week and a half. And the show will be back live again, man. So just shout out to my girl Coco and the whole Flow Studio family, which is for the love of artistry. And we'll be back open. The grand opening is coming soon. But so I had to stick that shameless plug in there really quick. But Jay, as far as, like I said, one, I appreciate you being on the show. Appreciate all the knowledge and the nuggets that you've given. But what are some things that you would want to leave? And I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. What are some things that you would want our fathers, our young men, even the single mothers? What are some, I don't know, just a few things you would want them to know about why it's important for our young men to have mentors. Why is that important? And you know, what do you think about that?
Close the door, buddy, please. Thank you. Um, I like that king picture that you have there because I think that people misunderstand what a king is.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's my spiel on what a king is.
So you good, man. That was my next question, man. Nah. No, go ahead. Tie it all in together, brother. I like it. Tie it all in together.
I think that a king is thought to be the most brash, braggadocious, shiny, got the most drip walking in the room and you can see it and smell it and stuff like that. No, that's just somebody that wants to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
When a king walks into the room, you may not notice, you may not see it, you may not hear it. It just might be another person walking into the room. But when the purpose of that event is revealed and the energy and the conversation starts flowing, you are not going to be able to do anything but sit back and be like, it's that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And more importantly, when that person leaves and vacates, their absence is missed. Their presence not being there is noticed. What's more important to a king, a true king, is the fact that he understands that what should be the most important thing to him is that his subjects are glad that it's him that's the king. It's not necessarily all about getting your way all the time, because if you're a king with a queen, that ain't gonna happen. Mm-hmm. It's just not going to happen. I think that one of the bad messages that our young people have is they're looking for what they can get out of a situation. Hey, man, I'm not going to put my foot into this unless I'm getting something out of it. I'm not going to do this for you. What can you do for me? Tell me how this helps me. How is this going to make me bigger? And that's just so contrary to what I believe. I personally get my satisfaction from coming into a situation and having that situation be better when I'm done with it. I personally love having people email me or call me later and say, man, I'm glad it was you that was there with me through this. Man, I'm glad it was you that had my back through this. I'm glad it was you that I called when I had this problem. And I think that is the definition of a king, where you make your kingdom better. And one of the credos that they instilled at Morehouse is do your job better than anybody else can do your job. And so I've been fortunate enough in business where I've had customers write me a blank check, where I've had them postpone projects because of how they knew I was going to treat their project. I've had customers rearrange schedules because of my belief system. I'm going to walk in here. These aren't your customers when I'm on site. These are my customers when I'm on site. I think that, again, it all goes back to the diminishing of the village and knowing that you have accountability, both for the people that are coming after you and to the people that came before you. I think that is a dying understanding in not just our youth, but the parents as well. Yeah. Everybody's kid is special. No, he's not. Not until he exhibits king behavior. That's just another subject.
Yeah. There you have it. There you have it. So look, shout out to you for, again, being on the show, man. I'm loving the This Is How You Dad project. And for everybody who doesn't know, that's a YouTube deal where you're going to be inputting more information. And it's just those videos right now, but y'all definitely look out for the This Is How You Dad, because like you said, when you launch it, you want it to be a bigger deal than not.
So the site is up right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's content that people can't see. So if you go to thisishowyoudad.com, the only thing that you can do right now is subscribe to the channel,
Right.
the YouTube channel. So we are preparing content and stuff, and we're gonna have some hard conversations. Like, you know, we're gonna talk to a father that's lost some of his children.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to somebody that had an abusive father in their household. So
Mm-hmm.
this is howyourdad.com. Sign up for the YouTube channel, and we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, and look forward to This Is How You Dad and Dad Chronicles collaboration, man. You know, we're definitely going to get that going. Just another project you need to put on that board. You know, make sure nobody from Detroit is there. You know, they're not working.
I converted you.
But no, seriously, I think that's one of the funniest times from this show. But no, man, just really salute, man, and I appreciate your diligence, your intentions, and you know, this is the part that's just so important to my heart, man. So again, everybody stay connected, follow the Reach Podcast Show every Thursday, 10:30 to noon. Stay connected with Dad Chronicles, stay connected with This Is How You Dad, my man Jason Dorsey. When can we expect this book, man? Putting some pressure on you. When can we expect the book? You got to speak a date, man. Come on. Do you have a name for it yet?
The House Rule.
Okay.
It is, with my building and handyman experience, it is a guide to how you structure your dating and interpersonal life with anecdotes about how you set up your house. So okay. I can share with you one thing. Okay.
Go ahead.
What house have you ever walked into where the front door goes to the master bedroom?
Wow.
None.
Yeah.
But yet that's how a lot of people's relationships are set up.
Yeah.
That's a bad built house.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of stuff in the book about that, and it talks about getting your house in order before you create a house with somebody else. It teaches you how to inspect somebody else's house, teaches you how to look at your house.
Yeah,
and it's a thing. It's a thing.
Okay. Look, I'm excited to see that and actually get a copy and read that, man. That's going to be big. So definitely appreciate that. But is there anything that's on your mind you want to leave with the audience, man? This is your chance to say whatever you want to say. You know, don't worry about the sponsors.
Vote.
Absolutely.
Vote, and after you vote that person in, stand on their neck. Don't just vote and wait until the next voting term. Vote. Take a day off and go to their office and sit, and I got something to say.
Right.
If they give you an email address, email that email address until they email you back and tell you to stop emailing because we got your email 150 times.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the way you do it. You know, a lot of people don't realize that. That's definitely the way you do it. But Jay, man, we touched and we talked a little bit about a bunch of things, man. I appreciate it. And you know, we definitely gonna get some more communication and some more details coming in here in this new future, man. But again, salute to you, and hope every project that you're working on, you can move up a completion date. You know,
yeah, man. Hair off to you.
Absolutely, man. But no, again, it's the Reach Podcast Show with LeVar Ellis and our special guest today, Jason Dorsey. This is the show where every show reaches beyond the ears of the listeners. And I appreciate everybody. And last shout out I have to give definitely to my son's dentist. She is now official sponsor of my show too, Dr. Reed, man. So I appreciate the whole Smile dentistry over there in Alvin. So if you're in Alvin, go out and see Dr. Reed over at Smile Avenue Dentistry. You know, so we appreciate you guys over there looking out for my young men, man. My son's tooth got knocked out, man. She just handed me her card, said, "Here, come see me." He plays basketball, is what it is, and caught an elbow coming down. So, you know, shout out to Smile Avenue Dentistry. and appreciate you guys being a show sponsor as well. But Jay, man, it's been a great one, man. I appreciate
Yes,
you, and
yes,
we will definitely holler, man.
The next one's gonna be better.
Absolutely.